Hey world, it's your host Marshall, and thanks for tuning into my podcast, runONthoughts. Here we talk about everything and nothing because we are not afraid to be all of ourselves even as we evolve. And that's my thought for my fellow thought thinkers as we unpack our traumas, past hurts, and other BS. Y'all ready? Let's go. Hey thought thinkers, let's go. We're back at it again for another episode of runONthoughts, and as usual, I am so excited to be here. I am in a constant state of gratitude. I am blessed for all of you who are listening for the very first time. I am blessed for those of you who have been on this journey of unpacking, unlearning, and becoming you. That is the goal. The goal is to become you. I welcome you to go to runONthoughts.com and listen, subscribe, share these episodes with those that you love. Listen to them again so that you can become exactly who you are supposed to be. And with that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Today, who are you really living for? And I'll ask that question of myself. Who am I really living for? Right? For me or for them? This has been a journey for me. This has been the greatest unpacking that I have ever done in my entire life. And for me, this is the important episode because none of what we do, none of what we unpack is as important as who are you living for? You're in this body. You're living for you. Or are you? Are you living for you? It's a simple question, guys. But if you sit with it long enough, it gets uncomfortable. I know you're over there squirming. And I'm going to tell you to allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Because most of us want to say, for me. But I know that is a lie. I know it's a lie, right? Because when you look at your choices, what you say yes to, what you stay silent about, who you become in certain rooms, it doesn't always reflect that. Last week we talked about Am I the Problem? And that was inspired by Cardi B. Are you the problem? But deeper than are you the problem, it's really about who are you living for? Because some of your problems are about the fact that you are not existing in your most authentic space. And because you are not being authentic, the real issue isn't that you're the problem. What if it's that you've been living in response to everyone else? And of course you're mad. Of course you feel like the victim in your own story. Because when you are not being yourself, you can't feel love. You can't feel accepted. You can't feel like this universal energy is mirroring who you really are. Because first of all, you are lying. And when you are living for everyone else's response, you are living for their expectations. You are living for their comfort. You are living for their approval. And somewhere in that, you got quieter, smaller, more acceptable, more palatable. But today I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, and I am not a beggar or a pleader. And I'm asking myself, who am I really living for? Who are you really living for? And if the answer isn't you, what would it look like to start choosing yourself now? That was one of the greatest discoveries of my life. I think I've always been the self that I am. I am sure that there are those in my life who would be able to tell you guys a different story about who I am, but I can remember as far back as I can remember. And I don't have a lot of memories, which is why when I share my memories, they're usually around my mother passing away, moving in to live with my aunt, her strict rules, becoming a teenage mom. They're very focused on specific traumas. And I hate that for myself, but it is what it is. But early on, I have always been nosy. And I mean always. I have always been nosy. I have always been an observer of the world around me. And although it seems like I talk a lot to my friends, which I do, I didn't always talk. I had so much trauma in the beginning of my life that I lived inside of my head. And that is exactly where all of these run on thoughts come from, right? I could communicate with myself. This is why I have full conversations with myself. And I even answer my motherfucking self because I really don't care what people think. And that is what I want for you guys. But for me, where did it start? It started, as best as I can recall, from me observing my mother. The crazy thing about childhood, about what I want to tell some of you adults, is that they may not know what you are doing while they are children, but they will grow up and then they will relive the past and they will have information from adulthood, new information, new tools to figure out what it really was. So when I was a child and I tell you guys that my mother was an addict, I didn't know what an addict was back then. I knew something was wrong. And at the time, I believed and I thought that my mother simply wasn't happy here. And when I say here, I mean on earth. I thought my mother wasn't happy here. And because my grandmother's house was a very religious house and I watched when I was in church, it seemed like there was this other place called heaven where joy lived, where freedom lived, where the shackles of life would be broken and my mother could be free. So very early on, I wanted my mother to go to heaven because in my young mind, I felt like she could get what she needed there because she cannot get it here. But that stirred something in me because when my mother passed, I did not cry. My cousins were crying. They were falling all over my mother's coffin, and I simply did not understand why. My young mind was confused. Why are all of these people crying? She wasn't happy here. Isn't she going to be happy where y'all say she is going? I recognize now that when people die, the mourning is not necessarily for the person who has died. The mourning is for those that they left behind. The mourning is for those that are here, that are missing that person, like losing my father. The mourning is that my father was my friend. I am happy that my father is at peace. I am happy that there's nothing that went unsaid and undone with my father and I's relationship. But the mourning is that habits have to die. If you wake up in the morning wanting to speak to your loved one, they're not here. So that's what the morning is about for most people, especially as you grow old. I can imagine that the morning is a deeper morning when it's someone that you believed hasn't gotten the most out of their life, or your child or something like that. But I recognized that my mother wasn't happy here. And because my mother wasn't happy here, I wanted to be happy. This is why I tell you guys that joy is the center of my life. So I move through this life energy knowing that no matter what happens to me, around me, joy is the balance level. Joy is my zero, right? Life be lifing. You are going to be sad. You are going to have trials and tribulations. You are going to have triumphs. You are going to have successes. You are going to have a multitude of experiences that shape who you are. But joy, unlike misery that doesn't need your motherfucking permission, joy, you got to snatch it up. And at a young age, I knew that I was going to have to snatch up my joy. And when I made the decision to snatch up that joy, I realized that I was going to have to be willing to make some people motherfucking uncomfortable. Because I've often told you guys that being me is not easy. And I'm not bragging on no shit like that. When I am telling you guys to unpack, when I am telling you guys to unlearn, when I am telling you guys to become, I know that it is not easy. I know that you will lose people and friends. I know that you will have to stand 10 toes down sometimes by your motherfucking self. I know that you will have to look crazy. I know that you will have to walk alone. I know, but the flip side of that is walking in a life where you are not living for yourself. And I do not want that for you, because not living for yourself can create anxiety, right? Because you never know exactly what is going on. I want you guys to understand that you got to tell yourself the truth before the world tells you who you are. And I learned that early as well. I am a dark-skinned black woman, and I have always been grateful to be a dark-skinned black woman, not because being a dark-skinned black woman is better than being any other kind of woman, but it's because it's who the fuck I am. And I learned early on from those that love me that my self, my black, my womanhood stood 10 toes down in a beauty that just is. And so before I was able to go out into the world and the world tried to tell me who the fuck I was, I knew who the fuck I was. And one of the people that I want to thank for that is my Aunt Brenda on my mother's side. They used to call me a black pretty bitch. And because of that, right? Because I had been filled up already, I knew that in order to navigate the world, in order to have armor when you out in the world, you got to be filled up before you even go out in the world. So that was another lesson that I learned early on. One, my mother wasn't happy here, so I was choosing joy as a part of my identity. And I was also choosing to define myself. And in defining myself, I was going to be walking through the world with armor that was going to not allow anyone's opinion to bounce into my soul. It was going to motherfucking bounce off. Because when you don't define yourself, the world will do it for you loudly and often incorrectly. They will tell you who the fuck you are and who you should be and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing and how to move and how to dress and how to feel. And they will give you a multitude of insecurities that will have you drowning in what their expectations are for you. And I am telling you straight up, fuck that. Stop allowing people to tell you who you are. Mirror. There's another thing that I do, and I don't know if I've shared this with you guys, but I've often been called arrogant. I don't really give a fuck. But I'm not arrogant. I am clear about who I am. And I am clear because I am nosy and I am a listener and I'm a watcher. I watch people. I watch for patterns. And some of the patterns that people have is that most people are not happy. So the audacity of us to be walking around giving a fuck about what other people think who are not even happy is dastardly. Get the fuck out of here. You're not even freaking happy, and yet I should care what you think about me. And oftentimes when people are talking, when people are trying to belittle you, when people are trying to throw you in a box, most of the time they are projecting. Most of the time they are mirroring who they are. And when I tell you that people are trying to project who they are onto me, I bounce that shit back like a boomerang. If you try to tell me that I'm stupid, I think you stupid. If you try to, like, say you in a relationship, right? And some man say you ugly. Why would I be upset? He's the one with you. He's the one is with you. So if his woman is ugly, that means that he is either attracted to ugly, can't get better, but the onus is on him. Everything somebody says to you when they are supposed to be uplifting you can't be about you. I've had men say, yo, you crazy. Well, that must mean you like crazy because you here. Right? So I don't got to change me for you because I'm comfortable in my shoes. When I've heard people say, yo, nobody will never want you. But yet, here you are. Here you are wanting me or fake wanting me. So the question is, why are you here with someone that you believe nobody wants? So you see how I am never taking in, I am never absorbing what other people say about me because I simply see it as a pattern and I use my wisdom of discernment to recognize the bullshit. And because of that, yes, there have been people in my life who have been trying to break me down, but you can't break me down. You want to know why? Because I know who I am. I want you guys to look in the mirror. I want you to mirror yourself. I want you to recognize the energy and the power that you have internally. I want you to talk to yourself and answer yourself. I want you to tell yourself who the fuck you are. I want you to use the chakras. I want you to say, I am who I am. I am great. I feel great. I look great. I have greatness all over my body. I love that I am great. I speak greatness over myself. I see greatness in myself. I understand that the universal energy that is in me is great. I want you to say it in the mirror. I want you to say it quietly because this is for you, about you. This is personal. I want you to write it in a journal. I want you to shout it out loud. I want you to think about it when you go to sleep. I want you to notice when you try to shrink yourself or edit yourself around people. Pick your head up. Honor your internal voice over this external shit out here. All these external voices are a lie. You got to know who you are inside. I want you to also learn how to detach your worth from acceptance. Not everyone will understand you. Some people will only like the version of you that benefits them, and that's okay. Who gives a fuck? Being loved for who you are, right? Being loved for who you are requires risking being misunderstood. That is my truth. I am misunderstood all the damn time. And I really don't care. I don't care if you understand me because I know me. I know me. I like me. I am me. I am all of myself, even as I evolve. I stand 10 toes down in who I am. I do not seek nor need the validation or acceptance of other people, especially like I'm going to keep telling you guys, they ain't happy. People mad at other people. The reason why I can be arrogant, annoying, and spoiled is because I want that for you. I'm not a hater. I'm not a gatekeeper of joy. This podcast, the words that I share are so that you can live a life that is full. But in order to be full and free, you have to give up the idea of being accepted. You got to give up the idea, of being accepted by other people. And you got to accept your motherfucking self. What Cat Williams say? It's the self-esteem. It's the esteem of your motherfucking self. You got to love yourself. You got to pour into yourself. You got to stop over explaining yourself to be accepted. You got to let silence be your boundary. That's something that I still need to work on because I be talking, not giving a fuck. You got to recognize, guys, that rejection is often redirection. It is not reflection. Stop feeling like and taking it internally about what other people think about you. Have you ever stopped to look at people and be like, what the fuck? You out here in pain? Oh, the motherfuckers who are in pain, they are followers. They have no character. They have no morals. They are sheep. They are not worthy because they are so busy kissing the asses of other people and yet got a whole motherfucking rule book for you. We will not. We will not. I want you to practice showing up unedited. And I know I'm talking big and bad, but I know it's not easy. I know that you have to do this little by little. Being authentic doesn't always happen in big, bold moments. It's built in small, consistent choices, guys. Little by little. If you don't love yourself, you got to pick something, right? Choose your eyes. That's why I tell myself 5 things that I'm grateful for every day, right? And only one of them can be, and I choose one of them that is not my body. I start with like something like I'll say, I love my eyes, I love my hair, or I love my fingers, right? And over time, you start to develop a love. The more you love yourself, the more you pour into yourself, the more you validate yourself, the more you have conversations in the mirror with yourself, because it's a relationship with yourself, right? Looking in the mirror, talking to yourself, it is the greatest relationship that you can have. You are power. You are energy. The energy is in you. Words have power. How you talk to yourself has power, right? Say what you actually feel when safe to do so. That's why the mirroring is so important. Say what you actually feel. When I have conversations with my sister and I say, feel what the fuck you feel. When you feel sad, be sad. I give myself permission to feel sad. I give myself permission to be angry. I give myself permission to be all of the things because I am safe, because I walk through the world with joy on standby. I am not afraid to be myself. I am not afraid to walk through life loving myself. Where? You know, I say I dress crazy. I don't give a fuck because I dress from a place of joy. Wear, create, and express what feels true to you. Let go of the need to read the room at the expense of yourself. But these are things that you have to do internally. You have to be willing to show up as yourself for yourself. You have to be willing to have a relationship with yourself. You have to stop giving a fuck about people that I promise you, most of them are not happy. Some of them are weak. And because you are strong, they will not like you. Because you are willing to be all of yourself, they will not like you. I am comfortable not being liked for who I am. But imagine somebody liking you for who you are not. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody really wants that, but I recognize it can often feel lonely because the more you become, the smaller your village will get. But some of y'all villages are too fucking big in the first place. It got a lot of empty motherfucking dead weight of people who want to reap but not sow. I sow seeds of love into my village, and I reap the love from my village. And that's the best gift that I get for being my authentic self. I am sure that those that I surround myself with love me for me. Because I weed out the fuckers who don't love me, and that shit makes me happy. That is how I honor my ancestors. That is how I honor my mother. That is how I honor my father. And that is how I honor myself. So again, I ask you, who are you really living for? And I know, guys, the answer is not easy. Not the honest answer. Because the truth is, you can spend your whole life being who others need you to be and still feel unseen. You can be liked. You can be accepted. You can be praised and still feel disconnected from yourself. And that's the cost. That is the price you pay for living for other people. But when you start choosing yourself, when you start choosing yourself fully, honestly, without constant permission, life changes. Your internal dialogue changes. How you talk to yourself changes. Right? You might outgrow people. And that's okay. It's okay to outgrow people, especially when they did not serve who you really are. You might disappoint people, and that's absolutely okay. You are going to disappoint people's expectations of you because they have put on you who they think you should be and not who you really are. You might feel uncomfortable at first. And I'm telling you, you cannot grow in comfort. Growth comes with discomfort. But you'll also feel something else in the process. You'll feel alignment. You'll feel peace. You'll feel the joy of living in your truth. Because the goal is not to be understood by everyone. The goal is to finally be understood by yourself, for yourself, and live and exist in that place. My place even has a name. It's called the Magic Garden. And I'll shoot this motherfucker up for anybody trying to destroy my joy, because I am clear about who I am. I am clear about the fact that I am all of myself. You want to know something else, guys, that I feel? I don't trust anyone who needs to exist and live in thinking that all is good and that they are all good. I am not all good. I am not all bad. I live a balanced life, and I don't trust anyone who's trying to be all good. I think that they are evil. I am balanced. I have good thoughts. I have bad thoughts. I talk to myself well sometimes, and sometimes I have to shake my head and speak goodness into my life. I don't always talk good thoughts about other people, and sometimes I mean that shit, because I am balanced. And the more honest I am with myself, the more I can accept myself, the more that I can become one with who I am, the more that I can realize that I am living for myself. And the question is, are you enough? Are you living for yourself? Will you live like it? I'm tired of talking to you guys. Bye.